we're checking out the PowerStop Z26 Street Warrior brake rotor and pad kit for the front and rear of the 2008 to 2021 Challengers with those 4-piston front calipers. If you're looking to upgrade your stopping power, reduce brake fade, clean up that brake dust, and add a sharper performance-ready response to your braking system, then this kit is built for just that, and it is definitely worth checking out. This kit delivers a full spectrum performance upgrade across both front and rear brakes. The rotors are cross-drilled and slotted, helping dissipate heat, vent gases, and clear water and debris more efficiently than the stock units. The rotors also come zinc-plated to resist rust and maintain a sharp look behind your wheels. The pads use carbon fiber ceramic compound, offering improved bite even under higher heat situations, with significantly reduced dust and noise compared to many stock ceramic or semi-metallic pads. Stainless steel hardware and shims are included to ensure a precision fit, minimize noise, and effectively distribute the pressure. All parts bolt on directly with no modifications needed, which simplifies the installation process of this kit. And this kit is designed for a high-performance street drivers who want reliability as well as more stopping power. These rotors are made from very high-quality, durable cast iron with that zinc-plated finish that we talked about for extra corrosion resistance and helping them look clean behind those wheels without getting that instantly red, rusty look that most rotors get. The drilled holes and the slots are machined to precise tolerances to help with thermal management. The pads are molded with a carbon fiber ceramic friction material bonded to backing plates that are coated and include stainless steel shims to reduce noise and fade. All the components are engineered to match OEM dimensions for perfect fit and finish. So this swap is about as easy as it gets for increasing your stopping power without actually changing the brakes and the calipers. Now when it comes to the pricing on this, it's coming in around that $700 price range for the full front and rear kit. That is a strong value when you consider you're getting drilled and slotted rotors with that zinc plating, high performance carbon fiber ceramic pads, hardware, and that low to no dust and noise with an upgraded stopping power on your car. Overall, it's a very good value for anybody looking for high quality brakes. The installation is rated a 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. You can have this installed and done in about 2 hours of your time. Now let's check out exactly how this process goes with a quick video from one of our American Muscle customers.
The tools you're going to need to do this, you're going to need torque wrench, breaker bar, ratchet, 21mm socket, a hammer, a roll pin punch, caliper hanger, a lug nut, and a caliper spreader, along with some brake clean and some thread locker. And you're also going to need an 18mm wrench, preferably with a ratcheting side. All right, that's the tools you'll need. All right, once you get the car jacked up, the first thing you're going to want to do, you're going to want to pop the hood, remove the panel to expose the brake booster, and remove the cover. That'll make it easier to squeeze the calipers once you get the calipers off. All right, so the first thing you're going to want to do is take a lug nut and screw it on to one of the studs. You only need one, and it's basically just to hold the caliper in place so it doesn't move around while you pull. It holds the disc in place while you're moving the caliper. Next, you're going to take your roll pin punch and your hammer, and you're going to knock out the 2 pins. One and 2. And you have your old metal plate. and your 2 pins. Set those aside, you're going to replace those with new ones. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to slide the brake pads out. It should just slide right out. There you go. Now the brake pads are out. Now you're ready to remove the caliper. All right, next thing you're going to do, you're going to take your 21mm socket and your breaker bar. I always use a breaker bar. Makes it easier to get these bolts loosened up. 21mm, and give it a good tug. Loosen it up. Do the same with the bottom. Break the bolt loose. Then you can grab your ratchet and loosen it up the rest of the way. Now if you have power tools, I encourage you to use them, but for the sake of this exercise, we're just using regular hand tools. Now before you loosen your top bolt, make sure you have your caliper hanger ready to go. Make sure you hang on to that caliper as you loosen the bolt. You don't want to let that caliper hang from the brake lines. Okay. Caliper is now off. Take your caliper hanger, put it through the bolt hole, and hang it. Okay, now go ahead and insert your caliper spreader tool and start tightening it down, because you're going to want to take these 4 pistons and push them back inside to the caliper. Alright, now that the pistons are flush with the caliper, we can take this off and move on to the next step. That's what it should look like when the caliper pistons are all fully compressed. Now if these things are not going down easy for you, double check to make sure that you remove the brake booster cap. All right, next step, take the lug nut off, remove the old disc. This is a good time to take your brake clean, get it all cleaned up, ready for the new disc. Grab your new disc, make sure you have the right one. This is front driver's side. Slide the disc on the lug nuts, and go ahead and put that lug nut back on there, just so it's not flopping around when you put the caliper back on. Okay, now you're ready to reinstall the caliper. Take the caliper bolts and apply a real thin bead of thread locker. Doesn't have to be a lot, just a dab, just enough to hold it on a little bit extra. Apply a little dab on each one. Pull the caliper off the hanger, slide it over the disc, line up the holes, and go ahead and start threading the bolt through. Once you got the first one started, you can go ahead and start threading the bottom one. Now grab your ratchet with your 21mm and start tightening them up. All right, there you go. All right, before we install the pads, it comes with packets of grease. You need to grease the back of the pad. So you put a couple dabs on the back. Put a lot, just a little bit. And you also need to get grease on the pins. Usually I just take the grease that's on the back of the pad and throw some on the pins. Alright, now we're ready to install the pads and the pins. Alright, pads, obviously this side's going to go up against the brake pad and make sure, or the disc, and make sure the holes are on the outside. And they should slide right in. If they don't slide right in, then you didn't push the pistons back far enough. You should slide right in. All right, go ahead and grab your metal clip, like so, and you slide your first pin in from the back through the brake pad. Sometimes you need to hammer them in just a little bit, and then it's going to go through the top part of the metal bracket. Like so, and then hammer it the rest of the way. Okay, next put the bottom pin, bottom part of the caliper, through the brake pad, over the clip, through the other brake pad, through the caliper. Take a small screwdriver or a roll pin punch and just hammer it in the rest of the way. Once those are all the way through, you're all set. All right, last thing we're gonna do is torque down these caliper bolts. Torque specs on a 4-piston caliper are 120 foot-pounds. So set your torque wrench, line it up on the bolt, and that is torque. All right, 120 foot-pounds, we're good to go. Okay, we're gonna start same way as you did the front. Take a lug nut, throw it on there just to kind of hold the caliper or to hold the disc in place while we get the caliper off. You don't have to do this. I always do it. It just makes it a little bit easier. All right, now you can take your roll pin punch, and a hammer, and you're gonna knock the pins out. One. There we go. Pins out. That's your old parts. You don't need them. You're gonna pull the pads out. Now, time to pull the bolts off the calipers. We're going to take our open-ended wrench, or you can use the box end of an 18mm, loosen it the rest of the way. Usually you can, once you get it broken, you can remove it by hand. Okay, now the bottom bolt, definitely going to want to use an open-ended wrench because this control arm right here won't allow you to put a socket on there. Once you get it kind of loose, it's a lot easier to take it out by hand. Just make sure you hold that caliper. You don't want it to fall on your head or hang by the brake lines and break a brake line. There we go. Once the caliper's out, grab your caliper hanger, and you could usually hang it up on one of the control arms or whatnot, just so it's not resting on the brake line. Now you're going to take your caliper compressor tool, get it in there, and tighten down those caliper pistons. Now, with the pistons pushed completely all the way in, now you're ready to replace the disc. Okay, now you're going to remove your lug nut and take the disc off. All right, now we're ready to put on the new disc. Make sure this one's labeled rear driver's side. It's the right one. And we'll just put some brake clean in here. We're ready to put on a new disc. Slide them on and add that lug nut just to make things a little bit easier. All right, you're ready to grease the new pads Usually put them on the two sides. That's where the pistons go. Greased. Put a little on pins. Slide in a little easier. Now we are ready to remelt calipers. All right. So go ahead and unclip your caliper from the hanger. Put a dab of thread lock on that bolt. Get it back through the mounting hole. Line up the caliper bracket. And you can go ahead and start hand threading it in. $18mm. And go ahead and start tightening down those two bolts. Right, now that we got that thing tightened up just enough, get the ratchet around there, and finish tightening it up the rest of the way. Now the caliper bolted down, securely in place, now it is time to insert the pads. Slide in one, the second one. Now we're ready to put in the bracket and the pins. Remember, they're going from the back. Take your hammer. All right, now that those are in, now the pads, pins, calipers in place, now you can pull the lug nut off, and then you're ready to put the wheels back on, and one step left. Once we have all the wheels on, the car's ready to go, don't forget to put the cap back on the brake booster. One last step is the braking procedure. So this should come with your brakes. Make sure you follow this and do what it says to brake in your brakes properly. And they'll last you a really, really long time.
All right, that's gonna wrap up my review and install of the PowerStop Z26 Street Warrior brake rotor and pad kit for the front and the rear of the 2008 to 2021 Challengers with those 4-piston front calipers. And for all things Challenger, keep it right here at American Muscle.